Hey, Michael, I really like the fact that you're doing your research and trying to make this a good gift for your son. I think that's really cool. So I'm going to try and provide you with some information that might be useful. This Tiger tank is the hang long with the I've got it with the upgrade metal gearboxes and metal tracks and metal sprockets. Right now it doesn't have tracks or sprockets on it, and we'll get to that in a second. This tank comes with a controller like this. You'll get it delivered for around 170 bucks in the U.S. I think Xenon Project has them in stock. You can get them off of eBay too. Shipping from Canada takes longer and costs more, but RC Dynasty and Matomart are both reliable and upstanding vendors that they won't try to rip you off or anything like that. It does have the metal antenna, runs on the RX-18, and it has you have to turn the tank on its side, and it has a battery box in the bottom. The on-off switch is also on the bottom of the tank. There's a couple things you're definitely going to need no matter which way you go, and one is going to be a decent charger and at least one extra battery. You don't want the boy to play with it for 20 minutes and have to wait 6 hours for it to charge, so he'll end up with a couple of extra batteries. So that's the one that's your most cost-effective model there. And it's got good detail on it. It's a nice tank. If they're still doing them, the Hang Long actually have separately molded Pioneer tools and stuff. So he gets to put all that stuff on and the decals and stuff. Depends on how crazy you guys want to get and how involved you're going to get. But if you go to Tigen, the really important thing there is the lower hull. And this, like I said in the post, this is a little more. You can probably get Eric down to around 220 or 225 delivered for one of their plastic Tiger tanks. Now this is a Sturm Tiger, but the point is it's got the same lower hull. Now this has got metal tracks on it. The Tiger at Imex has got plastic and plastic sprockets. These are the metal tracks that came off of the Hang Long. That's one thing that's great about Tigers, and one of the reasons I have so many is that stuff is so interchangeable. I can take the whole Sturm Tiger top off and put it's just a Tiger 1 hull, and the Tiger 1 hulls are the same for several different tanks. This has got zinc 4-shaft gearboxes in it. The plastic Tiger comes with zinc 3-shaft, and with plastic tracks, that'll last you for a while. You'll have no problem with that. It comes with a decent battery to start with. Now, I've added a Komodo board, but this has got the stock Tigen electronics in it, and that comes with a controller like this because it's 2.4 gigahertz, so it has the shorter antenna, and it's definitely a better transmitter. He'll have less problems with interference and get better range. It also uses 2 less AA batteries. It's really easy to use, and he shouldn't have any trouble with it. Most of my tanks are airsoft, so if you want to see anything in IR, you'd have to ask about that, and I'd get specific on that. But he likes the BB, so that's what I assume you're going with. And the most important thing, like I say, is that this lower hull, whether you get late or early, it comes with a torsion bar suspension. Underneath that plate is a torsion bar suspension, and it's got metal suspension arms. And in RC tanks, that's a big deal. The Hang Long have got spring and plastic, and it's nowhere near as good and doesn't last as long, and a lot of times it'll give guys problems, and you eliminate all of that by getting the Tigen lower hull to start with. If you want to add metal road wheels and traction sprockets later, it's already set up. I tell people it's like building a house. If you start with a crappy foundation, you're going to end up with a crappy house. Okay, but I bought the all-plastic Tiger, and this is the hull top for it. I repainted it with the Tamiya decals for the S33 that was at Kursk, and I went kind of nuts on this tank. I put in an ASP board, and it was all plastic. Now it's almost all metal. I'm putting on an airsoft barrel, or airsoft turret with barrel recoil. You can see it's got extra speakers in there. It's got special brass gearboxes. It runs on a LiPo battery. There's the ASP with the Juno board. It runs on the Turnigy 9XR Pro, which is this radio. And yes, it was quite a bit more expensive, and he'll have to sell a whole lot more newspapers to be able to afford one of these. but he'll get a really good amount of support from all the guys on the forum. So that's one of the things you kind of have to ask yourself, is how involved you're going to be in the hobby with him. If it's mainly for him, that's one thing. If it's something you guys are going to do together, that's a little bit different. But you can start out with the lower end if the budget says you have to. But I really highly recommend that you go for the Imex T1 lower hull. Whether it's got plastic tracks or not, it's still the metal lower hull, and it's got a lift off top. You don't have to worry about a battery box door on the bottom. For the Sturm Tiger, the on-off switch is behind this hatch, and for the regular Tiger tanks, the on-off switch is underneath one of the front hatches, which is also just a lot better. So Eric will hook you right up with one of those, and I hope all that information was helpful to you. And if you got any specific questions, you just sing out, and I'll do my best to get them answered for you, partner. And welcome to the hobby. I hope it's both you and your son are going to get into it, and I should warn you now, if that's the case, this won't be your only tank. You'll get more later, trust me. This hobby's addictive, but it's a good addiction, and we have a lot of fun with it. And if your son is going to mainly do it himself, he should probably register with his own screen name at the forum. The guys here are great. They're intelligent, they're polite, they'll be respectful to him and treat him nice, and it'll be good for him. And if it's both of you, then welcome to both of you. Until then, we'll see you next time.